Long ago, in the era of Tara Earth's darkest hours, an extraordinary experiment was set in motion. This was the Human Elohim project, originally known as the Turanusium-1 project, a grand design conceived by the Human Elohim Eternal Gestalts from Palador, Sirius B. Their plan was audacious: to take 5 distinct human DNA templates, each representing a unique bloodline refined over billions of years, and cross them to create one super race of eternal beings. These beings were designed not only to live forever, but to wield supernatural abilities through a revolutionary avatar technology known as the Christos Blueprint. The 5 bloodlines were as follows: the ink-black blue sheen Uniseti, associated today with African traits; the radiant golden Melchizedek, Asian; the fiery red Breanua, Native American; the earthy Antrian, Latino; and the refined Hibiru Aryan, Caucasian. Each of these lines had been evolving for an almost inconceivable span of time, their genetic legacies honed by the powers of creation and eternal life. Yet, not every celestial faction welcomed the promise of such a being. A group known as the Anuhazi Elohim took issue with the idea. They believed that Elohim beings should remain emotionally contained, lest their immense powers be unleashed in uncontrolled fury. When negotiations with the High Council of the Orifim failed, a renegade faction, the Sons of Baal, rose in rebellion. These white-featured winged beings, born of the Anuhazi and now linked with bioformed creations like the Kepri scarab race and the insidious Budhara Borgia retrovirus nanites, set out to derail the experiment by any means necessary. Despite this opposition, the Orifim pressed on. They seeded the new avatars onto Tara Earth in a series of steps, beginning with the red Breanua placed in ancient Lemuria and Alania. Over the ensuing millennia, additional variants were introduced one by one, even as cosmic wars raged and the very fabric of life was torn asunder. 10 million years into the project, the Anuhazi had marshaled their forces and even engineered their own destructive agents, bioformed invaders and nanite viruses, to subjugate the emerging race. But destiny had other plans. A great war, the Fall of Man War, ensued, shattering Terra Earth into 13 pieces and leaving countless beings disembodied, their souls adrift as lost souls of Terra, in a vast, interstellar exile. It was amid this crucible of conflict and despair that the figures of Enki, Thoth, and Ninhursag emerged. In 250,000 BC, Enki, along with his enigmatic son, daughter Thoth, approached Ninhursag with a vision: to create a new species, an avatar capable of housing the scattered spirit essences and restoring life to those trapped in the simulation. Ninhursag, a master geneticist whose origins remain as mysterious as the forces she manipulated, set about her task with a blend of divine insight and advanced genetic engineering. Working with a mixture that included DNA from the Jehovah Anunnaki, Human Elohim, Nibiruian ape, Earth's rhesus monkey, and even Earth soil, she crafted a new creature known first as the Lulcust. This being, later known by the collective name Hyksos, was meant to be the vessel for the revival of life on Terra, a being engineered to mend the damage wrought by cosmic warfare, yet doomed to remain bound to the physical realm due to an inherent limitation in its DNA blueprint. In an unexpected twist, the experiment to create distinct male and female avatars did not proceed as planned. Instead of 2 separate beings, the first successful creation emerged as a single, dual-natured entity, a being bearing both male and female halves within one body. This hybrid was later known as the Herm, a living symbol of both the promise and the paradox inherent in the grand experiment. Statues and busts celebrating the Herm, such as those in ancient Greece, attest to the legacy of that moment, a moment when the merging of divine ambition, genetic manipulation, and cosmic warfare gave birth to a new chapter in the saga of Tara Earth. Over time, the Hyksos were further refined through successive genetic upgrades. Their original towering stature, texts even describe the first Adam and Eve as reaching 90 feet in height, was gradually reduced as they interbred with more human-like forms. Yet the legacy of the original Human Elohim persisted, a testament to a creation that had been as glorious and tumultuous as the cosmos itself. In the next phase of this cosmic drama, the very nature of creation underwent a radical transformation, through the introduction of distinct sexes. For over 500 million years, the Emerald Covenant, the underlying agreement that had guided the genetic engineering of the human Elohim, had been modified countless times in response to the ceaseless wars waged by the Anuhazi and their minions. As a consequence, new treaties and new avatars were devised to rescue one group of lost souls after another. The key innovation was the realization that avatars, originally conceived as androgynous beings, needed to be split into two distinct sexes. This division would hasten the process of cross-pollination, enabling the corrupted, fractured DNA of those still trapped on the plane to evolve more rapidly and adapt to the harsh realities of a recovering Earth. The solution was ingenious. By splitting each lost spirit into two separate bodies, a male and a female, the time required for soul re-embodiment and progression through the intricate 15-level time matrix could be dramatically reduced. Genetic engineers at Sirius B, working under the auspices of the Emerald Alliance, introduced the concept of opposite sexes into the Human Elohim blueprint. This was not only a matter of physical reproduction, it was a profound alteration of the spiritual and genetic code of the avatars themselves. Within the Garden of Eden, the symbolic birthplace of the new creation, Ninhursag once again played a central role. Convinced that two distinct spirit essences were necessary to foster life, she infused one part of the new creation with a fractal of Thoth's awareness, representing the male element, while she imprinted her own essence to create the female, known as Lilith. Yet the process was even more complex than a simple duality. For the Adam and Eve creation, Ninhursag did not rely on a single female entity. Instead, she produced 4 additional duplicates of herself, surrogates that together formed the collective known as Eve, pronounced Eva. These multiple embodiments of Ninhursag served as wet nurses and co-creators, each contributing a fragment of her vast, multifaceted consciousness to nurture the nascent life. The experiment yielded a surprising outcome. Rather than forming two completely separate beings, the initial successful avatar emerged as a single entity that possessed a divided, dual nature. The Herm. This creature, incorporating both male and female aspects within one body, became a living symbol of the paradox at the heart of the creation process. Celebrated in ancient lore as Janus in Greece, the Herm encapsulated the imperfect yet profound attempt to merge divergent forces into a unified whole. As the new species, the Hyksos, took shape, they underwent a series of genetic upgrades over millennia. 7 distinct races emerged from this process, each an evolutionary refinement of the original Lulcust. The first, the Lulcust, was created using a combination of Jehovah Anunnaki, Human Elohim, Nibiruian ape, rhesus monkey, and earth soil. Later upgrades produced races known as Luhari, Eluli Levi, Eluli Judah, Eluli Nephi, Anu Melchizedek, and finally Adam Kadmon, the super race endowed with clair abilities and extraordinary intellectual capacity. Although the first avatars were colossal in stature, successive generations interbred with more typical human forms, gradually shifting their appearance to what we now recognize as human. Meanwhile, before the union of Adam and Eve could yield offspring, Enki intervened. He procreated with one of the Evai surrogates, giving birth to Cain, the first direct bloodline of Enki in the Earth's atmosphere. This act was not a deviation, but a deliberate pass-through process, a pioneering method of in vitro genetic splicing and intrauterine insemination that allowed more than 50 extraterrestrial races to merge their genetic legacies directly into human hybrid bodies. This process set the stage for an intricate web of interbreeding, one that continues to define the genetic and spiritual heritage of all bipedal life on Earth. Beyond the direct descendants of Adam and Eve, the Garden of Eden became a crucible for a vast array of hybrid beings, the Chimeras. These beings, formed from the intermingling of human, animal, insect, and even reptilian genetic material, include creatures that appear in myth and legend as gargoyles, birds, dragons, mermaids, and countless others. Though their appearances may deceive the casual observer, many of these chimeras share an underlying reptilian genetic code, a remnant of the original aquatic ape ancestry bestowed upon the Jehovah Anunnaki by the ancient Anuhazi Yanas. Today, it is estimated that between 50 and 70% of all beings on Earth are hybrids, Chimera invader races, whose true nature is concealed behind layers of holographic projection. As the simulation of Terra Earth continues its slow unraveling, the hidden war of genetic manipulation and spiritual enslavement intensifies. Microscopic agents known as Budhara Borgia retrovirus nanites infiltrate living beings, blurring the lines between creation and control, and pitting the forces of the Elohim against those of the dragons in a battle that is both cosmic and deeply personal.